You know what? I'm not going to even be wasting time on an intro because whilst I felt that making a third video on the live service slop was inevitable, I didn't expect it to have to list it on videos that I'm making this month, and I do not care if this video gets demonetized. So here we go. We're being fed by publishers looking to make a quick cash grab from player retention and engagement numbers, and it's starting to fall flat on its face. Countless live service shutdowns, new games destroying all of the hype because they're live service. It's been covered before on this channel. But there is one company that just can't even course correct. In fact, they're stupid enough to be 5 years behind everyone else and double down on the live service Circus. WB Games, everyone. The same publisher that brought the fantastic Arkham series to life, the same publisher that publishes the LEGO games every year, which are good by the way, they want to fully pivot into live service. That's right, everyone. They want a piece of that constant update, constant player engagement money that's become way more saturated than ever before. Their financial reports don't even try to hide it because they clearly want to move on from making single player titles to making some of their biggest IPs live service focused.
Are you serious?
And WB essentially says that the goal is to have longer term engagement and monetization through live service. I'd probably understand this like if it was 6 to 7 years ago and if they were releasing titles like Mortal Kombat and maybe Multiversus at that time. But we have to ask the big question here, has WB caught a W? Fuck no! Aside from the LEGO games, the only game that realistically does well as a live service title is Mortal Kombat. And it's like so easy to see why. Mortal Kombat is one of the most popular fighting games out there. Fighting games have always had a heritage of multiplayer, and it's so easy to diversify the revenue model for those games. And it's not even just WB who does this. Namco does it with Tekken and Dragon Ball. Capcom does it with Street Fighter. Arc System works with Guilty Gear. The list goes on. Multiversus, that game doesn't even require any introduction. They didn't even have a constant content cycle for like months after it came out, and then they shut down the servers earlier this year, hoping to re-release it next year. Actually, what you played was just the beta, so look forward to the full game next year. And I actually thought WB were going to be catching the W when Multiversus released. I even played some matches with a friend of mine, but unsurprisingly, WB, they just felt more focused on trying to get more people to buy fucking Glamium over actually making the game good. And I'll believe when I see it once they relaunch the game next year. As for their like DC titles, Gotham Knights was a massive bomb. Imagine trying to justify making the game run at 30 FPS by spinning it as having advanced ray tracing and like graphical features when it looks barely better than a late generation PS3 and Xbox 360 game, and the whole experience just looks like it's just falling flat on its face. Yeah, it's like on PS Plus and Game Pass, but I'm not playing that for a long time. Maybe if I've lost a bet or something, but I'm seriously not doing that to myself. And this is leading up to the biggest test for WB by far, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. And I talked about this at length in one of my previous videos way back in March about the live service bubble, and that was when they revealed the gameplay at the State of Play. The instant I watched Harley Quinn just shoot a bunch of generic enemies with purple weak spots whilst she was jumping around like Spider-Man, I was certainly not convinced that this game would ever be a success. There is no other way of saying this. No one liked the gameplay for Suicide Squad. It just baffles me that Rocksteady, who made some of the best superhero games of all time, is being reduced to this. They showed some more gameplay a few days ago, and they're revealing more of it over the coming days and weeks, but I think the more I see it, the more I'm fully convinced that this game is terrible. Remember Marvel's Avengers back in 2020? That Marvel game that was super hyped only to just become a big flop because it was heavily tied to the worst of live service mechanics. It was also boring to play with friends, I can tell you that. Like a multiplayer game being boring to play even with your mates, that's where it just fails from the first fucking hurdle. I can't even be surprised if WB took a page out of Square's book and wanted a piece of that live service pie. And keep in mind, one of the biggest problems with Suicide Squad has to be easily the always online requirements. Why does a co-op game need it? I've explained it before and I'll say it again, it's just terrible for game preservation if it has to be tied to the online service overall, and the fact that WB can just kill the game at any time, they even mention it in the small print, they can just discontinue the service at any time. Heck, they delayed this by 9 months to try and polish the game. Yes, 9 months. They didn't know that all we needed was moving the always online bullshit and removing the need to have a battle pass. What were the 9 fucking months for? Because it still looks awful and it doesn't even feel like nothing much has changed. The pre-order bonuses don't even try to hide it at all. You're getting a battle pass token, some extra weapons and skins, and if you drop $100 on that deluxe edition, 72 hours early access. This is unmistakably a live service game through and through, and I know that they were not going to fundamentally alter some aspects of the game, but let's be real here. Even if you removed the always online requirement, at least that could have been great for preserving the game for the future. It sadly doesn't take away from the fact that it's dead on arrival. As someone on YouTube comments once said, "Yay, another shit the weak spot until the health bar goes down game."
Who are you people? What do you want from me?
We want the numbers, Mason. That's all we've ever wanted.
Now, think about all of this and realise that Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League fits exactly with what WB wants. Live service garbage designed to maximise monetization and engagement to its advantage. No one wants this shit! Also, this is coming out at the same time as so many other games that are going to be much better experiences. Save your money. This is the chance to show WB that no one wants this shit. Like, no one wants these tacked on live service games. Instead of buying Suicide Squad, save your money for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. Instead of buying Suicide Squad, save your money for Tekken 8. Instead of buying Suicide Squad, save your money for Under Night in Birth 2. Instead of buying Suicide Squad, save your money for the Ace Attorney Apollo Justice Trilogy. Instead of buying Suicide Squad, save your money for Granblue Fantasy Relink. And instead of buying Suicide Squad, save your money for Persona 3 Reload, and that is coming out on the same day. Vote with your wallet and demand better from the games that you're getting. Instead of being fed live service slop and being a yes man to those kinds of games being made, especially like the stuff coming out for $70, dictate what the market truly wants. Yes, the live service model, that's not going to go away, and there are games that actually fit that business model perfectly, like Fortnite, Dead by Daylight, Honkai Star Rail, etc. But when publishers are desperately trying to tack on those mechanics onto full-price $70 AAA titles, this should not be entertained lightly. Demand better from your games, and there are so many better games that you could experience next year. And at least certain publishers and platform holders are scaling back their ambitions. Like Sony is the best example of this. I love their exclusives, but I just don't think that releasing 10 live service games within a couple of years and then letting shit stick on the wall is a good idea. They scaled back their release schedule, and we're only getting like 6 games for 2026. I know there's still a likelihood of those games not doing great, and we already know a few of them got revealed. Helldivers 2 looks decent. Concord and Fair Games, they need way more gameplay to pass judgment, and they've created a really bad first impression from what I've seen. And at least they're not dumping their single player library fully, because that's their bread and butter, and they still are producing bangers. Spider-Man 2 was fantastic from start to finish, and I'm optimistic about what they have next, even though I just do not like the communication that Sony has, but maybe that's for another video. I know this video just came across as a rant, but with all the recent news coming out about the problems with live service games, I just think that the Sony and WB news recently has been a turning point. Scaling back the live service project should pay off within the next few years, right? But going full onto live service when the ship has sailed years ago just comes across as so insulting. Drop a kill shot onto the whole thing, because it's just another high risk manual for failure. And yeah, this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video or rant, please like, comment or subscribe to the channel. It's really appreciated. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.